Hello everybody, my name is Vinny and I am getting set to go on my third snowmobiling trip to Wyoming. I trail ride in Minnesota every year. I put on between about 1,500 to 2,000 miles a year in Minnesota. And when I went out west the first time, I had no idea what to bring, and there was really no reviews out there that weren't biased amongst brands. So I have in turn bought a lot of stuff that I just either didn't get the right thing right away or wish I would have done something different. So I'm just going to make a quick video here for the stuff that I have got and the stuff that I really kind of wish I wouldn't have spent my money on. Mountain riding is a lot different than being on the trail here. So the first year I went out, I brought all my HJC and Castle X riding gear. Let's see, here's a Castle X jacket, nice, warm, insulated, love it, still use it. When you go out west, it is a totally different animal. It does not need to be intimidating, but what I have found out there is, with this stuff, you heat up. You need to go uninsulated. So I am not trying to pick apart brands here. This one, I just happened to get a deal on a Polaris jacket at Heydays. It is uninsulated, keeps you cool, but the big thing, it needs to be waterproof. Whether you go with the Climb, anything else, Gore-Tex. Gore-Tex is key. The other thing I've noticed, or out west, when like looking at guides and seeing what guides wear, they are it's either Climb, Motor Fist is another one. I have never personally used an Event Motor Fist product, but I am told they're quite good. I did get Climb bibs. Once again, Gore-Tex. In Minnesota, I'm just happy with my Castle X gear and FXR gear, not a problem. And then when I was out there, I saw a guide wearing just Guide Series rain gear. For, I guess, if they're using the stuff every day, you might just as well tear up a $60 jacket versus a $300 jacket. I haven't tried it myself, but I definitely saw a guide wearing a $60 raincoat out there because it's waterproof and uninsulated. That same theory goes for gloves. These gloves serve me well here in Minnesota. You will freeze with these things if you're going to do backcountry riding on the trail. They will get wet, and a dry hand is a happy hand. So we had to step up to Gore-Tex gloves. Climb, you can get a ski glove, anything like that. Gore-Tex or waterproof is it. I do not have Gore-Tex boots yet, possibly next year, but I do make sure that these get hit with the Camp Dry every year. So they are good enough waterproof. I have not had that miserable of a day. I personally wear a tech vest. You look into that stuff if you want. Like it, actual tech vest, not too much insulation on it. It's kind of a more basic one, so it's not so bulky. For extra warmth, when you are riding in the mountains, you do work a lot, so you really do not need the extra insulation. You might get a little bit cold going on the trail to the mountain, but once you're actually off trail and stuff, you're going to heat up. So I keep my layers thin. Use Under Armour or anything light, just long underwear, whatever, just so you have something that's light enough to pack. The other thing is helmets. I am very happy with a heated full face shield helmet here in Minnesota. That's what I use here. That's what I wear here. Happy with it. I like that you just slide the helmet on, you're done. I'm not messing with cold spots on goggles or anything like I have in the past. When I did go out west, however, you do need the more motocross style helmet. Problem with the full face is you're breathing a lot harder. If you get snow stuffed up into the helmet, heated shield or not, it's going to fog up. You're going to be wet. You're going to be cold. So I went with a 509, I ended up buying a 509 helmet. First helmet I bought was an HJC open-faced helmet. And then I just got some Castle X goggles. They were $40. They were tinted. They fogged up. They were not that fun. They just always seem to be the wrong tint. So I basically wasted money on an HJC helmet. That would have been fine here, not out west. I'm not saying 509 is the way to go, but I would highly recommend you go to an actual helmet dealer and get goggles and helmets that fit together, that seal up good around the outside. For goggles, I ended up since I use heated shields in Minnesota, I ended up getting some cheap Heydays special FXR heated goggles, clear. They're fine till it's sunny and then you're still blind. You're not fogged up, but you can't see anything. And then I went to polarized. I like polarized sunglasses. I did, as long as you keep them dry and the snow out of them, you'll stay fog free. When it was snowing the first year, I did get some snow in them. I got stuck a lot because I bought an Edge Polaris snowmobile in a more of an Access generation world. So I had issues. Second year, I ended up buying the goggle fan that clips up into the top of the goggles. I have noticed, even though, say, 509, using that as an example, that goggle fan is very generic, that it is also used for paintball goggles. It doesn't seem to matter. They're $65 everywhere you go. But they do run automatically based on moisture content, so they're not heated, but it definitely pulls all the hot air out of the goggles. And I only fogged up one time last year after having that set. The polarized goggles, I think they were about $110, which in my opinion is very pricey. But then again, I went through these at $40, these at maybe $40 or $50. So I have $90 and two pairs of goggles that I don't use. So at that point, buying one set of goggles that does work would be nice. Last year when I went, it was more of an overcast day. I had a little bit of trouble seeing certain terrain during the day. A lot of the people in the group and the guides I noticed went to rose color goggles. This is my first year getting them and using them. I have no idea how these things are going to work out, but they are 509. This is a Sinister X6. You can buy different lenses with it. You don't have to buy the entire frame, but they do seal up very well around the helmet, so I don't get air spots in it. And even though 509 does say that fan fits in all 509 goggles, we did have one guy last year that bought a fan that did not fit, and I believe it was the Kingpin. So if you get goggles and you want to use the fan, most places that have goggles have the fan. Try the fan out, make sure it works. So at least you have that option if you want to buy it later or after the fact. Tunnel bags. I am by far a bargain shopper. Now after my first Polaris snowmobile, that Edge chassis I found out is not the best thing this time. Not the best thing for the mountains. I ended up buying a Skidoo, but I bought this. I believe this is an IQ Polaris bag, shovel bag. I like it. I did like it. I just bent up some sheet metal or some aluminum brake metal, and then I just bolted it direct. I had that Skidoo had link mount holes on the tunnel. So I ended up just bolting this direct to it. It worked fine for a couple of days. I really like that the shovel head fits in this bag here and stays totally secure. It's not going to fall out. And this handle tube, or this handle holder, is it provides a lot of support for the handle. When I wander around Heydays, I do see there are a lot of shovel heads with no handles for sale. So there are a lot of bags that are not strong enough for handles. And I figured that out after buying a Skidoo bag. This is where the shovel head sits in that. There's a lot of area for that thing to kind of possibly slip out, break out over time if you roll the sled over. And then to hold the handle, it just goes in. The handle goes into this loop and back over here. This bag I bought at Heydays also, $20, whatever. I think it's a $100 bag, picked up cheap, but it's torn right here, missing handle. This one even came with a shovel hood or shovel head. So apparently they get lost on this thing. So now, after buying a cheap bag, now I'm back up to the $125 bag that I was too cheap to buy the first time. So now I have a Backcountry Access bag. I really do wish that this part for the shovel head was a little bit bigger. There's just no reason for that shovel head to be exposed, in my opinion. But I do like that the handle holder is full length, so it'll support that handle just fine and sit in there well. And then the BCA bag, if you have a Skidoo with link, you can just bolt these link holders right onto it. Otherwise, on this same bag, they do have extra straps that this came with. I removed them because I don't need them. So for their universal straps, that are bolted onto these 4 little bolts here, so you can put those on your sled wherever it works out. And let's see if we open this thing up. We have 2 waterproof compartments. This is my dozer shovel. It has a cargo net under there. One thing I have not gone cheap on yet, and I will not go cheap on yet, is avalanche equipment. Avalanches are really not that big of a risk if you know what you're doing. Pay attention to your guide. I highly suggest you get a guide. Go to an avalanche class. They're not that expensive. Even look stuff up on YouTube. Nothing is that complicated, but it really does help if you have somebody pointing out what you should do. A lot of it beyond that is common sense. So as long as we're on avalanche gear, I did pony up. I bought the float, BCA float bag, backpack. You know, has the bag that pops out over the top of it, so if you can pull the cord and you stay afloat of the avalanche. They're expensive. This one, I was fortunate enough. I found this one new tags on it. Craigslist, $500 with canister. When you're if you were in an avalanche, or if it were to happen, that's probably not going to be the time you're going to wish you would have spent the money. It's too late at that point. See, then I bought the BCA Link radio. It is a 1 watt. They have now come out with a 2 watt. What I like about this one is it does come through the sleeve. You can hear it. I can hear it decently over the engine and stuff. If somebody's yelling at you, you can still hear them. It's very quick and easy to access. It's not like a regular handheld that you'd have to put in a pouch or dig out somewhere. However, Midland makes a 5 watt handheld, 1 watt radio, 5 watt radio. You can buy 2 of these for $80 or 1 of those for $120. These are a lot more powerful. I still carry a heavier one with me, so if I'm farther away, I can still I just have a backup, which I like having. And then the Midlands, a lot of these, whether it be a Motorola Talkabout or anything like that, I pay attention to the wattage, not features or anything like that. To me, power is what it's all about. What I like about these, it comes with a rechargeable battery, but the rechargeable battery pack can pop out, and you can just put double A's into it if you needed to. And then I did get for your Locator Beacon, I bought a Tracker 2. There are many kinds out there. I just happen to get a decent deal on this one. What I like about the Tracker 2 is it's very basic. There is a power on switch on the back. Shows you the power level. Right now, it's in broadcast mode. I'm not going into all the details on all this equipment. There's plenty of other YouTube videos out on it. And then there is the search mode. Pull down, and now you're searching for beacons. So, pretty easy to use. Not much to it. 2 switches, and it's done. So, for somebody that uses it 1 week out of the year, simple is good. Boot dryers. I did not bring a boot dryer my first year out there. I've never used a boot dryer at home. I hike, camp, 4-wheel, snowboard, everything. I have never in my life needed a boot dryer. Out there, you spend a lot of time in the powder, you get wet. So, fortunately, the group I went with, did a rotation. I used other people's boot dryers throughout the day. Second year, I bought a boot dryer on my way out there. I bought this one. This one works fine, and I borrowed these. They kind of work. They might be fine for camping. Beauty of these, they're compact. If you were flying in, that might be something to do. You can rotate it amongst your gloves and boots, and as long as you're on it right away, as soon as you get back to camp, get your stuff starting to dry and rotate it every couple hours till it dries out. Then this one I bought, everybody else had boot dryers with blowers. I do not know why I didn't. This one did not. I assumed it said it was quiet. I never even bothered to look to see if it had a blower. I thought they all did. This one didn't. This one just has a heating element. So basically, warm air goes up the tube, dries out your boot or your glove. They work. They take more time. You got to dry them out. or you have to keep up on rotation with them. Here, I just bought this one this year. I'm just trying it out. I'm just going to try this out again. This is a Dry Guy Force Air. It has heat, timer, and blower. It has 4 ports on it instead of 2, so I can keep my boots and goggles, or my boots and gloves on there at the same time, so I can dry more things faster. So if we have to go through rotation, that's fine too. If you have a bunch of guys going, bring a power strip with you so everybody can run one or run them in rotation. Same thing. I did not want to spend the $70 on the right boot dryer to begin with, so I got $30 into this one. I got $40 into that one. So I got $70 sitting here, and I ended up spending the $70 anyway. Not saying this is the one you have to get. I'm trying it out. Just this is what I've kind of come up with so far as what things to consider when you're picking out your gear. GPS. This is an older Garmin GPS. I use it for my trails in Minnesota here. I couldn't imagine going anywhere without it. As far as snowmobiling, you can mark where you park your truck, mark the lodge. If you had to call in for help, you have your exact coordinates of where you are. Keeps track of all your mileage, everything like that. Invaluable tool. This one is about 10 years old, still works fine. I don't see myself replacing it. If I was buying a new one, I use this for pretty much every activity I do. For the mountains, I would definitely consider spending the extra money and getting one with topography on it, because you might see where you are, you might see where the lodge are, but it'd be really nice to see where that mountain is in between and where the low spots and the high spots are around it. That would be my take on the GPS. I know we're moving pretty fast here through this stuff. I guess I don't really have a whole lot more to say on it. If there is anything more in particular you would like me to touch on, feel free to leave a comment. I'll be happy to answer any questions I have. Like I said, I am in no way an expert. I have only gone on 2 mountain trips as of now. I'm getting prepared for my 3rd one. So I'm learning as I go. It's a lot of fun. If you get the chance, I highly recommend it. But definitely take an avalanche class, or at least watch some avalanche YouTube videos. I know BCA puts a lot of information out there about probes, the equipment, how to use it, what's available. Do that, and make sure that everybody in your group knows what's going on. I do not feel it's any more dangerous than trail riding, but yes, it's I enjoy it. Hope you enjoyed this, or kind of gave you a little bit of rough idea. Some of the things I went through I might have done different. I might touch on the snowmobile later and stuff. But in any case, that's what I got. Happy trails. Thank you.